Today is March 7th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It's a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today we're going to be reading out of the Big Book, Women Suffer Too, pages 202 and 203. And out of the 12 and 12, we're going to be reading Step 8, page 80. So with all that, my friends, hope you're doing well this morning. Let's get right to the good stuff. So out of the 4th edition here, this is the 3rd story in the Pioneers of AA. So we are reading a testimony of a lady who has finally woken back up or come back into consciousness after a blackout, and she has no idea where she is. She's in this basement flat talking to this lady named Dorothy. She has no idea who Dorothy is, no idea where this flat is, and she's trying to make her way back home. And that's where we left off. She's very panicked, and, we've been there. Some of us have certainly been there. So we're going to continue the story on page 202. We're reading 202 and 203. That night I got very drunk, which was usual, but I remembered everything, which was very unusual. I remembered going through what my sister assured me was my nightly procedure of trying to find Willie Seabrook's name in the telephone book. I remember my loud resolution to find him and ask him to help me get into that asylum that he had written about. I remembered asserting that I was going to do something about this, that I couldn't go on. I remembered looking longingly at the window as an easier solution and shuddering at the memory of that other window 3 years before, and the 6 agonizing months in the London hospital ward. I remembered filling the peroxide bottle in my medicine chest with gin in case my sister found the bottle that I hid under the mattress. And I remembered the creeping horror of the interminable night in which I slept for short spells and woke dripping with cold sweat and shaken with utter despair to drink hastily from my bottle and mercifully pass out again. "You're mad. You're mad, you're mad," pounded through my brain with each returning ray of consciousness, and I drowned the refrain with drink. That went on for 2 more months before I landed in a hospital and started my slow fight back to normalcy. It had been going on like that for over a year. I was 32 years old. When I look back on that horrible year of constant drinking, I wonder how I survived it, either physically or mentally. For there were, of course, periods of clear realization of what I had become, attended by memories of what I had been and what I expected to be. And the contrast was pretty shattering. Sitting in a 2nd Avenue bar, accepting drinks from anyone who offered, after my small stake was gone, or sitting at home alone, with the inevitable glass in my hand, I would remember, and, remembering, I would drink faster, seeking speedy oblivion. It was hard to reconcile this ghastly present with the simple facts of the past. My family had money. I had never known denial of any material desire. The best boarding schools, a finishing school in Europe had fitted me for the conventional role of debutante, young matron. The times in which I grew up, the Prohibition era immortalized by Scott Fitzgerald and John Hale Jr., had taught me to be gay with the gayest. My own inner urges led me to outdo them all. The year after coming out, I married. So far, so good, all according to plan, like thousands of others. But then the story became my own. My husband was an alcoholic, and since I had only contempt for those without any amazing capacity, the outcome was inevitable. My divorce coincided with my father's bankruptcy, and I went to work, casting off all allegiances and responsibilities to anyone other than myself. For me, work was only a different means to the same end, to be able to do exactly what I wanted to do. For the next 10 years, I did just that. For greater freedom and excitement, I went abroad to live. I had my own business, successful enough for me to indulge most of my desires. I met all the people I wanted to meet. I saw all the places I wanted to see. I did all the things I wanted to do. I was increasingly miserable. All right, that's all the reading we're going to do today in this woman's testimony. We'll come back to this in just a second. Okay, so we've been making our way through step 8, which is made a list of all persons we'd harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And in the last few days, we've talked about some of the hurdles with that and some of the challenges. And today we're going to build on that by finishing off page 80. We might next ask ourselves what we mean when we say that we have harmed other people. What kinds of harm do people do one another anyway? To define the word harm in a practical way, we might call it the result of instincts in collision, which cause physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual damage to people. If our tempers are consistently bad, we arouse anger in others. If we lie or cheat, we deprive others not only of their worldly goods, but of their emotional security and peace of mind. We really issue them an invitation to become contemptuous and vengeful. If our sex conduct is selfish, we may excite jealousy, misery, and a strong desire to retaliate in kind. All right, so we are going to stop there today. Some short readings today, but certainly powerful. A lot of this, our choices might incite some other reactions in other people. And by us, hopefully, working on ourselves, that in turn will help us with our social interactions as well. Because maybe if we're not so selfish, we won't have so many negative responses from others. And then going back to the big book real quick, my heart goes out to this woman once again, and it's interesting. She says that she was privileged growing up, didn't have a rough home life. Not all alcoholics do growing up. She says she's done all these things. She got to tour the world. She got to get all the material wealth that she really wanted. And then the last line struck me. She was still miserable. Had a great education growing up, but she's still miserable. So something is missing in her life, and it sounds like she just wants alcohol to kind of fill the void. Myself and so many others, been there. I didn't really have a bad childhood. I can't think of anything major. I mean, I had some minor things, and I won't get into those. I've had some minor things, but there was still something not quite right. And for a long time, alcohol was the solution until it became the problem. And I have to admit, I don't know if I've ever shared this, but the very first time I drank, I did not drink normally. I mean, I drank and I should have known I was alcoholic. I was drinking, I just instantly, I guess it triggered the craving, and I just wanted more and more of it. I should have known. It took a few years of field experience to figure it out. But that's all we have for today, guys. I thank you so much for listening. It is an honor, thrill, and joy to be here. As I always say, I don't speak on behalf of AA or any other sect or organization. I am just a guy. Again, I'm just a grateful recovering alcoholic. I hope you all have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow.